Many AI engineers using RAC as their standard, but what if it's not most optimal solution? Today we're going to compare RAC and context caching. Every step requires query, search, context retrieval, and generating final response. So as you can imagine, the architecture often is complicated and requires some setup. You would need a vector database, you would need a pipeline which will fill this database with data, which will generate vectors from data, and you will need your model to be able to see data from output. This is usually this optimal solution when you need to have up-to-date data, when you need to have specific data based on your domain, on your business. But sometimes, not often, but sometimes it's over-engineered for smaller documents, for other stuff like not big informational documents. I would actually use context caching. You're going to compare cost, performance, and accuracy. When you store your context in memory, first run will actually take like a big chunk of context. But every next query will not take all the context. Like you can see when you query with context caching, every next query will use a smaller amount of tokens. And this is where context caching beats RAC on smaller documents, but on cases when you have a lot of queries. But the main summary here is following: that context caching usually slower, might be same time. It might be cheaper with small documents, but when you run a lot of queries, and it's definitely cheaper in development cost, because you're not spending time on setting up RAC database, setting up pipeline to create data for RAC database. You're not setting up complex infrastructure. You just use existing model. You use context caching as built-in model feature, and that's it. In other cases where you have like more complex application, when you need some custom pipelines, when you have big knowledge base, in that case I would advise using RAC. Don't use something which is on hype, something popular. Don't use a solution only because it's popular. Always think about what's best for your product. Think about short term, long term, what will be best.